Havana. Drove and see the nightlife where they call Atlanta. Southside shows for a couple dollars, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's another Monday night brew party, and it's the return of the one and only, my good friend, SportyJordy. Jordyn, I'm going to say your last name right. You didn't tell me you had a dope-ass last name the last time you were on the podcast, Jordyn. Erard Coupe? What is it?
Coupe.
I was close enough.
Yes.
So she is my Eagles correspondent, our Eagles super fan. She is a YouTube personality. She does awesome stuff on YouTube. We were just talking about her video that she's about to make for this week. You can go check her out on YouTube. Just search SportyJordy. Follow her on Instagram at the SportyJordy or at _SportyJordy. Excuse me. SportyJordy joins the Brew Party podcast, episode number 52. How are you doing, Jordyn?
I've been better.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, I think I'm definitely going to inhale this tonight because after everything that's happened, it's necessary.
Love it. Oh, I love that. So with the big news, I guess we'll get into that in a second. Let's plug you real quick. Tell for anybody that doesn't remember you from episode 41, kind of what you got going on YouTube. You do a bunch of NFL content, Eagles fan. You're from Jersey, that Philly area. So quickly, let's talk about you. Then we'll talk about the stuff you have a lot to say about, I'm sure.
Yes. All right. So started YouTube this year. I put out weekly videos, basically breaking down what's going on in the NFL, all the major headlines. I mainly do my reactions to everything. It's a lot of chaotic energy. Being from Jersey, South Philly, I'm a diehard Eagles fan. So I do a lot of Eagles news, but I try to remain focused on everything, especially now that the Eagles continue to break my heart on a weekly basis. Try to avoid a lot of that if I can. And yeah, you can find me, as you can see down below, SportyJordy on YouTube. SportyJordy
on YouTube. Like I said, the SportyJordy on Twitter. Help her get her Twitter game up. And then the _SportyJordy on Instagram. So I got to say it, Jordyn. Bang, bang, bird gang. Here we go. This one's kind of a sad.
Take it easy on me.
This is a sad bang, bang, bird gang.
Yeah.
So Carson Wentz traded to the Colts. I'm just kind of going to let you go here for a second. Instant reaction. What are we thinking? The franchise-saving quarterback is gone 4 years later.
Yep. No, it's one of those moments I feel like it's never, like I'm going to remember for the rest of my life where I was when I got that notification. Me and my mom were sitting watching the flight attendant in the living room, just having a lovely midday afternoon. All of a sudden I get the notification and immediately, I don't know what came over me, broke down in tears. Like I was legit, like my mom was like, are you crying? Like I legit had tears streaming down my face. And I was like, it happened. And I think it was so overwhelming just because there was so much talk of it for so long. Like 2 weeks before it actually happened, it was like, it's a guarantee going to happen. There were all these teams reaching out, mainly the Colts and the Bears. So like we kind of knew that was the direction that the organization was going in, but then talk about it kind of died down. So I got my hopes up and I was like, all right, like maybe there's a chance we get him for one more year. I never wanted him to go ever. Not even after everything we went through this season, not for a second was I ever like, yep, this is the direction that we should take. So I've defended him from literally week one. So it was definitely super overwhelming to like actually get the news because like I said, part of me got my hopes up that we were at least going to get one more year. That, as we know, is not the case. I am happy that it's the Colts because I know that's where he wanted to go in his heart of hearts. I don't think we would have had our Super Bowl run if it wasn't for his connection with Frank Reich. So the fact that they're back together, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he did get out of Philly because I think Philly was a toxic environment for him. And I don't think they were doing anything that really went to his strengths. I don't think they were doing anything that showed how good of a player he actually is, unfortunately. So I think this was, unfortunately, the move that we had to make, just because even if he stayed, I don't think the relationship, he wasn't even speaking to Howie. So I think that just goes to show that they couldn't have been able to execute in the way that they should have been able to execute. The relationship was definitely broken. And now we're kind of in a rebuilding period, which is weird because it's really only been 4 years. We should not be here for another at least like 8, maybe 6. He's prone to injury, whatever. But yeah, so it's a lot to process right now.
Absolutely. So to help you process that, one of our good friends, Sam Cardona, we were just talking about her. Hi friends.
Sam.
And also, Jordyn, I have this same shirt on at this exact moment in time.
Barstool Fund, work like a girl.
Support it. Great cause. They're raising so much money for small businesses. Quick shout out here. Sam Cardona doing big things on the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast. Wednesday, check it out. Joey Molinaro from Barstool Sports. You probably know him from Twitter. Awesome impressionist, really funny videos and TikToks that he posts all the time. She got him on the podcast. Check that out.
I am so excited to listen to that.
I know, me too. I'm very hyped. Sam, that's awesome. And then my buddy Byron Smith checking in. What up? Thank you, sir. If you are ever in the city of Chicago, shyfoodlocal.com. Spam that website. It'll tell you all the best local restaurants to hit, all the best food in the city of Chicago. Byron and my friend Gabe do great work on that website. So back to the Carson Wentz trade here. I have some notes about it. So they traded him to the Colts for a 2021 third-round draft pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that could turn into a first-rounder. What do you think about that haul? Is that enough for a guy like Wentz?
No. Not at all. I think the Colts got lucky because the Eagles had a crappy season. So I think they were like, listen, like we're taking a risk here. Because there's a lot of people who are still unsure about Carson Wentz. I don't understand the argument. You can sit there and tell me he played crappy this entire season, which he did. Like, I'm not going to like take away from that. Like he didn't play his best, but it wasn't him. Like, it wasn't his fault. There were so many other factors that went into playing as bad as he did. And like, we've seen how incredible he can be. And like, literally what upsets me so much is literally 1 season ago, 2019, the only reason we even made it to the postseason was because of Carson Wentz. And the second that he went down in that game against Seattle, our first playoff game, our team crumbled. So like you can literally see how much he does for our organization. And we had like practice squad receivers. We had no business even being in the playoffs that season. And Wentz was the staple that got us there. So I think just from all the pieces, I think for one crappy year for him to get traded for pennies, literally pennies, because a third round and a conditional second. Like I was even hoping, like when there was talk of him going to the Bears, there was talk of us getting Nick Foles back. That's a whole nother deal. But like us maybe getting Allen Robinson and like a second or first, something like that, I would have honestly been happier with. But for a third and a second, it really boggles my mind. The Colts, congratulations. Like you played that brilliantly. And the Eagles continue to make moves that make absolutely no sense. We also took a $33 million hit to our cap with this trade. So yeah, it's been a wild ride these past, I think it's only been 4 days and it feels like it's been a month since this news broke. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, the news dropped Thursday, 4 days. So with that conditional second round pick, if he plays 75% of the Colts offensive snaps in 2021, that will turn into a first round pick.
Yes. Or if he only plays 70%, but then they have to make the playoffs.
Yes. So like you said, there were multiple teams the Eagles were in talks to be engaged with. So as a Bears fan, I'm going to tell you straight up, I didn't want Carson Wentz. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I haven't slandered the man in the past. Do I think he can be a good quarterback? I absolutely do. Like you said it, the injuries are kind of come into question for me. But you have to take into consideration what he has in front of him. That offensive line is not doing him any favors. As a Bears fan, I can tell you all about offensive lines that don't do their quarterback many favors. But I just thought, as far as Carson Wentz and the Bears offense, I just didn't think it was going to fit. We were talking about he took 50 sacks last year and he didn't play the last 4 games. He was on pace to get sacked 67 times last season if he were to finish out the year. And with this Bears offensive line, it would have been just as bad. So good for the Colts, good for him for getting to the Colts and getting to Frank Reich. So you have the 85th overall pick this year. The Colts are able to keep their first round pick this year, which they could use to take an offensive lineman to replace Anthony Costanzo to shore up that OL group, or grab another young weapon, which they seem to have a lot of. So you were talking about his contract. The Eagles are taking a cap hit of $33.8 million. That is the largest dead cap hit that any team has ever taken for a player. The Colts will assume his balance of $128 million, by the way, which he signed less than 2 years ago, a $128 million contract extension with the Eagles. And then they also have to give him his $10 million guaranteed roster bonus on March 19th. So the Eagles, they don't get their first rounder, only get a second rounder. I mean, that can become a first round pick. But I mean, is it really that terrible considering he was a backup to finish the year? And like the NFL, like at least in my opinion, it's like a what have you done for me lately league. So I think with
everyone, the league has become very impatient. And honestly, we were just talking about the NBA before this started. It reminds me, we're moving in more of a direction towards the way the NBA is run. Very impatient, big trades, big names getting shifted around. And honestly, I'm totally here for that because like now in the off season, there's so many exciting things happening, like big names getting shifted around. But it hurts. This just really hurts me.
It definitely does. So it's just crazy, like how we got here
so quickly.
Let's get into that real quick.
Yeah, no, the timeline really makes no sense. From the moment, I swear, like the city of Philadelphia, the Eagles, our Super Bowl that we just got was our first ever. So I feel like we wanted it so bad. We had no business winning that we had no business getting there, let alone winning it. Like it was a complete like fairy tale ending. And I swear I'm so grateful for it. I wouldn't change it for anything, but I swear it's cursed us because from the moment we've hoisted that Lombardi trophy, we have been crumbling and spiraling downhill. Literally we wanted to trade. I was one of the people, I never wanted to trade Nick Foles. I wanted him as our backup. I understood that he deserved at least a chance to be a starting quarterback somewhere else. Like you just want us a Super Bowl. I totally got that, but I wanted him with us. But then the Eagles' argument was, if we keep Foles on our bench, that's a lot of pressure for Carson. And they wanted to prove to Carson that he was their guy. So I'm like, all right, perfect. I always wanted Carson as our starter. No problem. Makes sense. It hurt, but it was fine. So we do that. We make that big move. We pay Carson all this money. Now this draft comes up. And in the second round, when we need so many, we have so many holes to fill. We needed so many guys at so many positions. You could have taken best of at literally any position, basically, except quarterback. And we would have been fine. And they drafted his backup in the second round. So that, I think, nobody saw it coming. Like, it came so far out of left field. It was like I was in that moment of complete shock where, like, I couldn't even, like, curse or, like, be mad. Like, my jaw was literally just, like, silence. And, like, that's rare for me to sit there in silence. Like, I was blown away. So I think everything from the way they were defending Carson and making every move to prove that Carson was our future to then turn around and do this, I don't blame Carson at all for being upset with the organization. And then even the way they handled benching him, like it's not like it was Carson Wentz played crappy, so they benched him, put Hurts in for a little bit, and then like there seemed to be no communication, and it was they waited until the last second, put Hurts in, never took him out. Wentz was suddenly benched. Like it has just been an absolute roller coaster. I really like every move that the Eagles are going to make. It doesn't make any sense. I can't see anything coming. I don't know their game plan. I don't know what their future. I don't know where their end game is. So it's just really been a hot mess express that doesn't seem literally at the draft. I was trying to give my team the benefit of the doubt. I was like, all right, maybe they have a plan. Maybe they have something coming. Now, like my expectations were low for this season, and now they literally rock bottom because like I literally don't even know how to process everything that's happening with my team right now.
So I have it up here on the screen. I mean, I think I know your answer is going to be no, and I think that is absolutely the correct answer. Where does that start? Does it start up in the front office? Does it start with Doug Peterson and him kind of shutting out Wentz, especially in this 2020 season, losing trust in him, basically taking away any control he had in the Eagles offense? Is it on your favorite guy, Howie Roseman? Is it on Peterson? I mean, probably a mixture of everybody really butting heads here. Yeah, no,
Howie Roseman is my literal least favorite person on this entire planet right now. If I like saw him on the street, I would have to be like held back because I'm furious. When Doug Peterson got fired, and I got asked this question, would you rather have Doug or Carson? 100% Carson. Like, it wasn't even hesitation for me.
You said that on this show.
I was going to say, I was like, I believe it was you that asked me, who would I rather have? And I 100% wanted Carson.
Yeah. So
the moment, this is another one. When Doug Peterson got fired, I got the text. My friend texted me before the news broke and was like, listen, it's happening. Don't say anything yet, but it's happening. He's out. And I was like, oh my God, I was screaming, running around. I was so excited because to me, that meant we were keeping Carson. Like that, like it was either one or the other. Like getting rid of both, like I didn't even think was an option because complete over. Sorry. I'm getting heated. I'm getting ahead of myself. So when I got the news, Doug was gone, I was so excited because I was like, yep, we'll bring in someone that actually wants to work with Carson, sees all his potential. Everything is going to be fine. Then all the news, we hire Nick, who I honestly didn't see coming. Another one that wasn't on my list, but I was fine with. Like I wasn't thrilled, but I wasn't pissed about it either. One of the reasons I wasn't pissed about it was because Frank Reich gave him this glowing recommendation. So I took that as we are hiring another Frank Reich to come in and work with Carson, repair the relationship. We literally were turning into the Philadelphia Colts. So I was fine with everything that was going on. And yet we still ended up trading him to the Colts anyway. So to answer the question long-windedly, it was not all on him. I wanted Doug on. I think, honestly, most of the blame is on Howie. Howie isn't going anywhere. Jeff Lurie wants someone that he can boss around and kind of – it's like a Jerry Jones. We're turning into like a Cowboys. We're like, we could be good, we should be good, but we're never going to be kind of thing. And it pains me to even make that comparison. Howie Roseman should be on the hot seat. Yes. He never will be because he does everything that Jeff Lurie wants. And that's really all Jeff Lurie cares about. And Doug, I'm glad we got rid of him, but now I don't even really think it was for anything good because we're not even really doing anything to fix our problems anyway. So I honestly think the Eagles are going to be in a drought for the next at least 3 seasons. Because I really can't see anything like small moves that we make aren't going to fix the problems that we just caused. Like we literally lit our own organization on fire, watched it burn to the ground, and are still doing nothing to rebuild correctly. So yeah, it wasn't on Carson. It wasn't on Carson. Oh,
I understand. I know what you're saying. So if we're looking at Wentz's numbers from this last season, he played in 12 games. He was 3-8-1 as a starter, completed 57% of his passes for 2,620 yards, 16 touchdowns, league leading 15 interceptions, sacked 50 total times. for a quarterback rating of 72.8, which was good for 34th or 33rd out of all quarterbacks in the league that qualified for that. So just not great. But if we look, I have his stats from his career pulled up here. The year before, you talked about 9-7, wills the Eagles to the playoffs, throws for 4,000 yards, 27 tutties, 7 interceptions.
He hit his interceptions. Like you said, in 2019, he only had 7 interceptions. He hit that this season in week 4, I believe.
Right.
It's been crazy.
So, and if we look at the 2 years before that, so 2018, 2017, really just was not able to stay healthy. Only plays 13 games in 2017. Selected to the Pro Bowl that year, arguably would have been the MVP had he been able to stay healthy. Had an
convinced of that.
11-2 record as the starting quarterback of the Eagles in 2017. Completed 60% of his passes for 3,296 yards. Had 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions again. But that's in 13 games. The next year struggled to stay healthy as well. Only 11 total games played, was 5-6 as a starter. Did complete a career high 69.6% of his passes. Nice for 3,074 yards. Still over 20 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I actually have a cool stat here that I found. Carson Wentz is, if I can find it, here it is. He is one of only 6 quarterbacks in NFL history to record 20-plus passing TDs and 10 or fewer interceptions in 3 straight seasons, joining Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. That's elite company right there.
Yeah.
Now he is on a completely different team. Like you said, just trust was just not there. What year did that start unraveling? Was it all in 2020 where this just kind of fell apart? Or did you see the writing on the wall for this at any point?
Leading up to this season, I knew, like I said, my expectations for this season were low. Like I didn't expect us. I thought we would take the division with a losing record. I thought we were going to win the NFC East, which for the NFC East, that's really not saying much. But
NFC Beast.
NFC least, honestly.
Yes, NFC
least. So leading up, we're going to have issues, but I think the draft, day 1 of the draft, I was disappointed, but not surprised. Day 2, when we took Jalen Hurts, I think that's when I went, oh shit, this is happening and this is the end. This is the beginning of the end. So even going into this season, I just knew that because there were I stalked all Philly social media. There were already people before the season even started who wanted Hurts to start over Carson. So there was already all these arguments. Everyone was on a different page. As I said, nobody saw it coming. So I think for Carson Wentz, that was a huge slap in the face. I understand where they were coming from. We did need a backup quarterback. Carson Wentz is prone to injury. It's just a fact that you can't avoid. But right. You can take a young guy in the 5th or 6th round to be your backup for this season to get us through, if need be, to learn from Carson. It wasn't our main. We could have even traded for a veteran quarterback that's towards a Ryan Fitzpatrick, Marcus Mariota, one of those kinds of guys to be behind him, to kind of help us if he does get injured. But I think to put in his head that you're a guy, trade Nick Foles, give you the contract, pay you all the money, and then to do that, the communication wasn't there. The trust was 100% lost. So from that moment going into the season, I just knew we were crap was hitting the fan. And
you can say shit.
I didn't want to keep doing it. I'm from Jersey, so once I start, I have a truck driver mouth. I won't be able to stop.
This podcast, if it's one thing, it's not formal or serious. So, in this situation, it calls for multiple curse words from the Eagles' perspective.
They're definitely throughout this. They're definitely going to come out. But yeah, even week 1, we were up 17-0 against the Washington football team, and we blew that. So it was literally from the moment draft week 1, I was like, yep, this is not going to get any prettier. And it just didn't. It's gotten worse and worse and worse to the point I'm literally crying. There's an Eagles block behind me. It finally made it back up on the shelf. I literally took that off the wall and threw it. Sam Cardona got me that Eagles block. She doesn't know how it's still intact after this season.
That was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen because you were just so defeated you're just like, wait, throw this. And I do need to say, I'd like your reactions to shit that has gone on in the short amount of time that we have been friends and have collaborated on this kind of stuff have been absolutely electric. I messaged you after Peterson got fired in all caps. It was, this is the greatest day of my life. Or this is the happiest day of my life.
I was so excited.
Thursday, I messaged you like literally right after I got the notification. I'm like, I have to.
You were one of the first people to reach. It was you and Sam were like the first people to reach out to me.
Because I was thinking as soon as I had saw the Carson Wentz Bears rumors, I'm like, all right, if this happens, it's going to be a damn good podcast episode because I had to get you on. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, perfect. I can make this work. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. But I messaged you and said, hey, I know you're probably not very happy right now, but I'd love to get your thoughts on the trade. And I'm literally crying. And then you have the video of you throwing the block, and it's just great. Subscribe to SportyJordy on YouTube. Some elite content going on. But I don't know if I cut you off or not, but a couple comments we'll get to here in just a second. Before we do that, what do the Eagles do with the 6th pick in the draft this year? You just explained your frustrations about taking Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. Are they not even going to give him a chance to do anything? Do they take a quarterback at number 6? The speculation for months was Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase. Take a receiver, get a skill guy out there, get some help for Jalen Reagor, your guy Jalen Reagor, and all that unit. But I mean, what do you think? Where do you see them going?
I can't even say where I see them going because they tend to just do whatever they do. Like, I swear they just panic in the heat of the moment and they just make a decision, and then that's what we're left with. So I have no idea what they're actually going to do, but I swear to fucking God, if they take a quarterback with this 6th pick, I am a Dolphins fan this entire season. Like, that'll be the
fins up.
I was so devastated when the Dolphins didn't make the play. And they're the AFC, like they are my B team. I don't even know what, like they just have such a vibe. They are just such a cool team. I love their head coach. Like, I love everything about them. So I have no problem supporting them. I root for them all season, no matter what. If the Eagles take a quarterback with this 6th pick, it's game over. I will be distraught. Like, I will literally not know what to do with myself. So what I want, I really want Pitts. He's the tight end, wide receiver. You can put him at either, and there's a lot of rumors that we're getting rid of Zach Ertz because, as we mentioned, we just took the huge cap hit, and we are one of the worst teams in the NFL. We're also 31st in cap space. We have none. So I don't want Ertz gone literally at all, but I understand that we're literally trapped right now. We're at a dead end and there's nothing we can really do. So to free up cap, I get it. And our offense, at least with Carson, worked very well with 2 tight ends, and Jalen Hurts seemed to fit right into that. We had Ertz and Goddard. So if we can get Pitts, which I believe, honestly, he would still be there at 6th, I think that's like the perfect guy for us because it would kind of replace Ertz a little bit if we actually end up getting rid of him. But it's also that wide receiver power that we desperately, desperately need. So that is who I want. I wanted Jefferson when he was on the freaking board. Literally, that was painful too, because Justin Jefferson was literally sitting on the phone, and I'm sitting at home like, yes, he's talking to the Eagles. We got him. And then Jalen Reagor came out of left field. But so let me just make it very clear. If they can't take a quarterback with our 6th pick, they just can't after everything. Because when they did that last year with our 2nd round pick, it literally created issues that we never had. They were trying to fix a problem that wasn't broken. And now if they do that again, you need to learn from your mistakes. Jalen Hurts was one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out of that draft last season. So all my Carson Wentz pain has, like, I don't want to take anything away from Jalen Hurts' talent. I was so excited for him to end up on a team. I was so excited to see him grow. Just didn't want him on my team. Like, that wasn't in the cards because we had our guy. We had Carson. So I want to give him a chance. I think to take it away from him after he really did come in and help us out a little bit towards the end of last season. Not that there was much he could do since the rest of our team sucks as well, but and our coaching sucks. Everything sucks. We suck. But they can't take a quarterback. They need to take, if they don't take Pitts, take a receiver, take anything except a freaking quarterback. Take an old lineman, take someone, not a quarterback. Not a quarterback.
Does it concern you that Pitts came out and said he's been watching a lot of Evan Ingram tape? Because I know we got some Giants friends there. Though.
It terrifies me.
Terrified. But yeah, it's the draft is
sorry to cut you off. One of my friends that's a Cowboys fan was like, I'll be so pissed if the Eagles get him. I want him. I'm like, honey, you do not need any more offensive weapons. You are monopolizing offensive weapons. You need a defense and you'll win games. Like, why would you even? But yeah, no. So if he goes to any other NFC East team, I will probably be devastated. I will freak out the same way I did when the Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb, which I'm still not over.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this draft. I think it's such a crapshoot. I've seen mocks with 4 quarterbacks going first. I've seen Sewell up there, the offensive lineman out of Oregon, who's supposed to be a generational talent at offensive line. I've seen Micah Parsons, the linebacker, is supposed to be going to the Miami Dolphins. Their new team slogan, Miami Dolphins, a vibe.
They are a vibe. Like, that's so accurate.
That's hilarious because during the season, when me and my buddy Ryan would do our gambling segment, it was a running joke. It was fins up because he bet on the Dolphins like almost every week. Like,
no, literally same.
I think he was like 7-2 or something like that when he picked the Dolphins because they were literally the best team against the spread in the NFL. But speaking of the Colts, let's talk a little bit about what we think Carson Wentz is going to do next year in Indianapolis. A couple comments. Tom Scavetta, Wentz will be in the playoffs next year. That is lethal in Indy. Yes. So I think he has a great chance to bounce back. Like, with this Frank Reich at the helm of this team calling plays, I will say it is a little concerning that Sirianni was not calling plays as the offensive coordinator for the Colts. And now coming to the Eagles, I know obviously he's fully immersed in that offense and working with those players every day, but I always think that's a little concerning when you are the OC, you get hired on and you're not calling plays yourself.
Yeah. Especially since play calling was one of our biggest weaknesses last season.
Mm-hmm. And then
it's red flag. The Eagles are full of red flags.
And then, is Indy Carson going to be 2017 Carson? So a fun stat I have here. So with Frank Reich, obviously he was Wentz's offensive coordinator. So in 2017, with Reich as the offensive coordinator, Wentz threw 33 touchdown passes against 7 interceptions while averaging 7.5 yards per attempt. Since 2018, after Reich left for Indy, Wentz has thrown 64 touchdown passes against 29 interceptions with 6.7 yards per attempt average. So his yards per attempt went down. Obviously, the interceptions went up a little bit. And then I think the confidence, it just wasn't there. I just think the confidence wasn't there. So
Doug Peterson wanted Nick Foles. He wanted Foles. So I think the second that Foles was gone, I don't think as a quarterback, especially like the Eagles did a good job of paying Carson. They traded Nick Foles, but like he was still young and like he needed reassurance. And from your head coach, like you need to get that, especially after your team won a Super Bowl with the backup quarterback. So like I think all he needed from Doug was like that conversation, like, you got this, we believe in you. And like even the plays that like Doug was calling for him, they didn't match his playing ability, and like everything that he was doing, like pretty much went against everything Carson's good at. So I think, like you said, confidence wasn't there. And I don't blame him. Like, you can't take that away from him because he needed someone like Frank Reich to kind of guide him along and like remind him who he was. He had a devastating injury. So it's just sad how everything's kind of working out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say about Hurts, like what you said, like Peterson starts calling plays that aren't in Wentz's skill set. We know he can move a little bit. He's mobile, but you wouldn't call him a running quarterback.
No.
You would say that Hurts is a running quarterback. He came in, Hurts only completed 52% of his passes, but he was able to run for over 300 yards on the year, which was something he was able to do, keep plays alive with his feet. Something that Wentz isn't going to need to do in Indianapolis with that offensive line. We talked about their offensive line group. I mean, it's led by Quentin Nelson. They did just lose Anthony Costanzo to retirement at left tackle, so that's a one hole they have to fill. But they have all of these weapons on offense. Jonathan Taylor was the third leading rusher in the NFL with over 1,100 yards on the season last year as a rookie. You have Michael Pittman Jr., who had over 500 yards and catches. T.Y. Hilton, here is something we should probably talk about. Unrestricted free agent. Does this signing make T.Y. instantly come back to the Colts now that they bring Carson in, or do you think he kind of shops around a little bit?
I honestly think for the Colts, T.Y. honestly has been pretty silent the last 2-3 seasons. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been like the T.Y. that I'm used to seeing. And especially for Carson, who's someone that struggled and didn't really have receivers, I think for the Colts, it's best if he honestly shops around, goes to another team. I was honestly kind of hoping I think he should shop around. I was honestly kind of hoping he would be included in the trade to the Eagles because he's a veteran receiver. I was like, if we got T.Y. in a conditional second, that would I would have felt much better about this trade. So I think what they should look into drafting is a young stud receiver and get someone like that with Carson, because they do have young weapons. That's like, this team is, for what they did last season with Phillip Rivers, who was literally at the end of his career, he retired. For them to now have Carson, I think this is just the beginning for them. I think they should move on from T.Y. He could pull like a LaShawn McCoy and go to like a team that's already complete, that also has young guys, win a Super Bowl, like go off, like have your last couple seasons and then be done. But I don't think he should be on the Colts.
Okay. Wow. That's a take right there.
I'm full of hot takes.
Full of them. I love it. I don't know what Colts fans are really thinking about that. I have a good buddy that's a diehard Colts fan that I really haven't gotten his take on this whole situation yet. But I mean, T.Y., he's been a staple in Indianapolis for so long.
And it's like one of those things that's like hard to move on from.
Right.
But I think like looking at big picture, and I'm not really a Colts fan. I mean, I probably will be now, but they got my guy. So, and now Eagles fans, we honestly have to root for the Colts now. Like, we have to at least root for them to get to the playoffs. Ooh, T.Y. to Green Bay.
Get that Green Bay shit out of here, Luke. I'm just kidding. I could see it. They need another receiver.
They do. I'm telling you, T.Y., it's best for him and it's best for them. He should not go back.
My buddy One Lung, check him out on Twitch, twitch.tv/OneLungLow. Who is going to be the QB for the Niners? So a lot of talk there. Let's get into that really quick. With the trade market, we can kind of tie this into the trade market for QBs now after. So Jimmy G, he obviously took him to the Super Bowl a year ago. Yep. Coming into question if he's really the guy. He has not been able to stay healthy. Another guy that struggled with injuries, as we've been talking about Wentz. Who do you think they should target in San Francisco, or do you think they stick with Jimmy G?
With the way it's looking, with pretty much every quarterback that comes on the market, they are in the conversation. So they are very interested in anyone new. Like, they are talking to everyone. So with the way it's looking, and especially kind of like the Carson Wentz situation, if I was Jimmy G, I would kind of take that as a hint. Like, all right, they don't really trust me. They don't really put their faith in me. I feel like that's another one of those things that could like destroy the relationship and create kind of a toxic environment. So I say the chances of Jimmy G being on the Niners next season, maybe at least starting for the Niners, is very slim. I think with the way it's looking, they seem to be targeting Deshaun Watson a lot. I know he said he wants to go to the Jets. I think the 49ers would be a really good landing spot for him. Now, the other side of that is the Texans have said they're not listening to any conversations regarding trading him, which that's you could have an entire podcast episode on the Deshaun Watson drama right now. It's insane. The Texans, honestly, the Eagles are on my shit list right now. The Texans might be my least favorite organization in the entire league right now. The only good redeeming quality they have right now is they did right by J.J. Watt and released him, and they let him get into free agency early, and I respect that. I was grateful for that. But after the DeAndre Hopkins trade, I hated them. But I still liked them like enough because Watson and J.J. Watt was there. Now with all this coming out, I'm over it. I hate them.
You're forgetting that Lovie Smith is now their defensive coordinator, the savior of the Houston Texans. Oh God. But yes, I know what you're saying. Shout out to Jack Easterby, the guy that went from chaplain and like morale coordinator to now a high role in the Texans front office. But it's just been a dumpster fire there, and I get it. Yeah, they did release J.J. Watt. They did right by him. But yes, he and Deshaun Watson are in very different parts of their careers. They play different positions. Yeah. But still, it's just, I thought it was kind of like, all right, we'll release Watt, but we won't take 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson.
It literally blows my mind. And like at this point, it's like, why would you even want a quarterback that literally came out and said he would rather sit out next season than play for your organization? Like, don't you want someone that like wants to do well for your city, for your fans? Like, he doesn't feel comfortable there. They're telling him, you're our guy. We don't want anybody else. They're not listening to trade talks. And yet everything he says, all the decisions regarding head coach, regarding GM, he wasn't sitting there saying, take this guy. I need this guy. All he did was give them suggestions of people they should be talking to. And they completely disregarded everything he said. So like, how can you like tell this guy that he's your man and he's your future and then do absolutely nothing to make him feel comfortable? Like it makes no sense. How can you do this?
I don't
want to be the Texans GM.
Yeah, you should be just run as many teams as you want, Jordyn.
I would love that.
You know what's going on. So who do you think is the next quarterback to get traded? Quickly, I will say, I mean, there's been a lot of talk. You are in the New Jersey, New York area. So the Jets, as you mentioned, that's where Deshaun Watson had put on the top of your list.
Yeah.
But if you're the Jets, do you look at this compensation for Wentz, like what they got? So the 3rd and the 2nd round probably doesn't make you feel great about like trying to trade Sam Darnold, right? Because I mean, as bad as Wentz was last year, over the course of his career, he's been better than Sam Darnold. Sure, Darnold's younger, maybe has a little bit more upside, you could say, but like really, how big is the gap there?
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles really didn't get an outright first pick for Carson Wentz. So if you're the Jets, like, are you a little bit scared? You start sitting on your hands a little bit here, saying maybe we hold on to Darnold for another year?
I honestly, for the Jets, now this is another very hot take. So prepare. I think Sam Darnold has the potential to be very similar to Josh Allen. Like literally, I think he could be not on that level, but very close. I think he has so much potential that we haven't gotten to see. I think he really doesn't have weapons. His coaching was absolutely horrendous. I think every single video from this entire season that I posted on my YouTube channel, I mentioned firing Adam Gase every single week. Like and that's not an exaggeration. Like that was like a constant theme. I hated him. I shouldn't say I hate him. He's probably a good person, but I hated him as a coach. So The eyes,
yeah.
everything about him just gave me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, but so I don't even think we've gotten to see the beginning of Sam Darnold yet. So for the 49ers to have, is it Salah or Soleil? Because I hear everyone say something.
I think I have no idea. I'm
going to call him Robert.
Robert. Good old
Mr.
Bob.
Robert.
Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Bob. I said Coach Mr. Bob. I think I honestly think they should take the year and just work on that relationship. And then if it's not working, this year is like an entire quarterback carousel. So I think for quarterbacks next season, you'll be able to get more for your money. It's like the housing market right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Like houses are going for like way higher or way lower than they should be. Like it's a weird time. So I honestly think for the Jets, it would be smart to hold off for one more year, see if it's working, and then decide if it's actually not, and then do with Sam Darnold what you will. But I think he at least deserves the chance. However, Deshaun Watson is so unreal. We really haven't even seen him hit his potential yet. So I understand why teams would want to rush and grab him, because once he's gone, he's gone. I have a feeling whatever team takes him, that's where he is going to finish his career, or at least stay for a very substantial period of time, because he's very, very, very talented. So I don't know. I definitely could see him in San Francisco, though. Like, I feel like that is honestly more in the cards, just because they're also more of a complete team all around. Like, they got plagued by injuries this season. They got screwed. But overall, they have weapons. They have a strong defense once everyone's healthy. They have so many weapons on offense. So them giving up a lot to get Deshaun Watson really wouldn't hurt them, like, long term, because they already have all the weapons, while the Jets literally need everything. So I think it's better for him to end up there. And that way he's already on a complete team. So, like, he's closer to being where he wants to be.
Right. Talk about two expensive ass places to want to live. New York City or San Francisco. Like, cost of living there is through the fucking
literally
roof. That's besides the point. So one quick quarterback stat I wanted to get to, because I thought this was interesting, just to go through this list of quarterbacks. So with this Carson Wentz trade, not a single quarterback drafted in the first round from 2009 to 2016 is with his original team. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, drafted 1 and 2 in 2016. Both moved this offseason. Wentz to Detroit in that Matthew Stafford deal. And no, not Wentz. Goff. Goff to Detroit in the Matthew Stafford deal. Wentz to Indianapolis, obviously. So let me read you off this list of quarterbacks drafted in the first round from 2009. So 2009 was Matthew Stafford to the Lions, Mark Sanchez to the Jets, Josh Freeman to the Buccaneers. 2010 was Sam Bradford to the Rams and good old Tim Tebow to the Bronconeers. 2011 was Cam Newton to the Panthers, Jake Locker to the Titans, Blaine Gabbert, Super Bowl champion Blaine Gabbert to the Jaguars, and Christian Ponder to the Vikings. So Locker, Christian Ponder are out of the league. Tim Tebow's out of the league. Mark Sanchez, Josh Freeman's out of the league. Obviously, Stafford's on a new team. Bradford's out of the league. Cam Newton's on a free agent. 2012 was Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, Ryan Tannehill, Brandon Weeden. So Brandon Weeden was 28 when he got drafted, so he's gone. Tannehill obviously having the resurgence in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck is gone. Robert Griffin's a free agent. Where does he go? 2013, there was only one quarterback taken in the first round. That was E.J. Manuel to the Buffalo Bills. He's gone. 2014.
What the frick has happened?
Yeah, 2014 was Blake Bortles, the boat to the Jaguars. Money Manziel to the Browns, and then Teddy Bridgewater to the Vikings. So Bortles was on a few different teams this year, is kind of struggling to make a roster as a backup now. Manziel is playing fan-controlled football. Teddy Bridgewater is on the Carolina Panthers. For now, yes. That could be another name that moves.
I know.
Jameis Winston in 2015 was on the Buccaneers, now on the Saints. Marcus Mariota, drafted by the Titans, now on the Raiders. And then 2016, Goff to the Rams, now on the Lions, and then Wentz to the Eagles, and Paxton Lynch was drafted by the Broncos in the first round of 2016. He is out of the league. Memphis legend Paxton Lynch. So out of those names, which one is the one like you forgot about the most? You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, he was a quarterback.
Huh, that's tough. Okay, because there's so many. Hold on. I need a second to process all of this. Well, the one I think upset everyone the most was Manziel, because he was supposed to be like the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly, especially now with Baker, how he's kind of like come in, and he's not my favorite. Sorry, Sam. I know she's watching and she loves him. It's not that I've forgotten about Manziel, but now with Baker kind of coming in, it's like you forget that he was supposed to be their future. So I think that's the one. And it's not even that I forgot about him, but it's like a disappointment. Like, it's like, oh crap, like that was supposed to happen and just didn't go the way you expected. Tim Tebow too. Like my grandfather, my papa, is a huge Florida Gators fan. I had a phone case that had a T and a bow on it in Florida Gators colors when he was playing for them. So like the fact that he came in and he was able to like, he was fine. He had like a couple moments, but he wasn't what everyone expected. And
he was one of the greatest college football players of all time. You could put Tim Tebow in the top 5 college football players ever. And just didn't translate. He did just retire from professional baseball. Give him a shout out.
I was going to say, I was like, and then he just retired from professional baseball. I think that's the one I forget about the most from a personal standpoint, because I was so excited. Like that was one of the people, like I'm not huge into college, and he was one of the guys that like I watched college, and I was young, like I was in middle school. So like for me to like sit there and like fall in love with college football because of him, to get so excited for him to be in the league, and then to really not execute in a way that anyone was expecting from him, it was really upsetting. And then he played baseball, and now he's retired from baseball. So I think he's the one that I kind of forget about the most, just because I think I was the most excited for him.
Yeah, if we're calling Mets minor league system professional baseball, I'm gonna get some heat for that. I'm just fucking around. I'm just kidding. I love Tim Tebow. So when I was either a sophomore or junior in high school, was like his height of like being on the Broncos, like when he threw that pass in the playoffs to Demaryius Thomas, and he was doing the Tebowing still. Yeah. I was in a multimedia class, and I made a Photoshop of me Tebowing next to Tim Tebow, because that was the popular thing when he was around. But one that sticks out to me is like, if you told me in 2013, like name the quarterbacks drafted in the first round in the 2013 NFL draft, I could not have said EJ Manuel. That would have been the last person I would have thought of. Like Brandon Whedon's funny to think about. Christian Ponder was a dumpster fire in Minneapolis. Josh Freeman was playing like Arena League football, and he got called up to a team a couple years ago. Felt like Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble. Paxton Lynch got drafted by the Broncos just because he's tall. All of that good stuff. But
so Broncos.
That is 22 quarterbacks drafted in the first round from 2019 to 2016. None of them are on the team that drafted them still to this day. 2016 was like 5 years ago. That's not a long time, but we have said it, the NFL, it's what have you done for me lately type league. And then we have a comment, blame Tannehill on Gase. You could blame a lot of things on Gase. So I
choose personally to blame everything on Gase, just because it makes it a lot more fun.
Absolutely. So a couple more questions I got for you. Can Frank Reich fix Wentz?
Yes. If you want me to be really honest, in the next 3 seasons, Wentz is going to win an MVP, and the Colts, I think the Colts are going to make a Super Bowl run. I genuinely, for how competitive the AFC is, I'm saying it right now.
You had it. Look at that.
The Colts within the next 3 seasons, we are going to see Carson Wentz win an MVP, and we are going to see the Colts in the Super Bowl. And I would be shocked if that actually doesn't genuinely shocked if that doesn't happen. So what's today? February 22nd. I'm saying it right now. The Colts are going to be in the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. Because I don't think there's anything to fix with Wentz. I think there's stuff that he has to learn, and He has to like grow a little bit as a player, but there's nothing to genuinely fix. He just needs someone that understands his play, which Frank Reich does. We've all seen it. He needed weapons, which the Colts have. He needs protections, which they had a major loss, but I'm still there. Anything is going to be better than the Eagles O-line, honestly. And for the fact that he was even able to kind of escape some of the situations that he did on the Eagles to be on the Colts, I think is going to be a breath of fresh air. So that's my take on this whole thing. I think we're going to see the best of Carson Wentz.
Absolutely. Next season, better or worse than Phillip Rivers just performed. Phillip Rivers completed 68% of his passes for over 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions this past year. Obviously retired. Do you think we see Carson Wentz put up better numbers than that in his first year as a Colt?
Yeah, no, I think Wentz has a lot to prove. I think he's pissed and like really fucking pissed. And I think he is going to come out and basically give one big fuck you to the Eagles and say, look what you just gave up. And we're all going to sit at home crying.
Absolutely.
I know I will be.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, that's got to be tough, especially for like Philly. You guys had to send him to like a small market that's like pretty close to Philadelphia, where you guys would easily be able to watch him. So another thing that came out, Michael Pittman, where's number 11 for the Colts? He said he won't give it to Wentz. What are your thoughts on the move? What number should he take in Indianapolis?
I honestly, from Michael Pittman's point of view, I kind of understand it. Carson Wentz is not Tom Brady. Like, he's not, he doesn't, like, Tom Brady had a whole brand, TB12. Like, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. So for him to come into your organization, you want to respect it and you want to be like, here. So I understand why Michael Pittman doesn't want to give it up. I think the way he's kind of going about it is a little questionable. Like, I feel like he's like pissed that Carson Wentz would even ask. Like, why wouldn't he ask? Like, that's his number. Like, I think it's fair to have the conversation. I think it's fair to like put it out there. But if Michael Pittman was like, listen, respectfully, no, that's one thing. But now I think there's like drama that doesn't have to be there. And it's like, Pittman, like, come on, like, that's the guy that's going to get you the ball. So even if you don't want to give him your number, at least like be chill about it. Like, just like I think things are getting a little feisty for no reason. Carson Wentz is like an angel. So like, I think if you literally were like, sir, like, I don't really want to give this up, I really don't think Wentz would fight him on it. So now with what number he should take, I don't know. I don't think you should go 12 because then you already have Brady and Rodgers. Is there a 12? I don't even know what's really available on the Colts.
I have no idea.
I don't either. No, you can't go 9 because then you're Nick Foles and you don't want to go down that road. You can't go 2 because then you're Jalen Hurts. And so there's a lot of things off limits for him.
So that's like a topic of that's happened before in football, where guys will come to a new team and they'll pay for their new numbers. What's the price tag on this number 11? I mean, come on, Carson, put that $128 million extension where your mouth is. Throw some bread down, and
if I was Carson, though, with the way Philly just treated him, part of me would want a fresh start.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Like, I think he's like, listen, like, keep 11. Like, he probably has a very sour taste in his mouth right now towards Philadelphia, and not towards the fans or like the city itself, but towards that front office, towards that organization, towards the way he was treated this past season. And like, for him to play as crappy as he did, I kind of want to be like, listen, I'm done. I'm in a new city with my favorite coach. I get a fresh start. Let's just start over, start from scratch. And I think that's honestly the way to go. I think it's kind of a blessing that 11 was taken. Start over, like, forget everything that just happened and rename yourself, renumber yourself, literally.
Quickly, I'm going to highlight some guys that have paid for their numbers when they've gone to a new team in football. So Dion Sanders, Prime, shout out to Coach Prime. Jackson State getting a huge win in his first game as the head coach on Saturday. So the price tag for number 21 when he went to the Dallas Cowboys was a brand new metallic blue BMW 325i for Alundis Bryce. Eli Manning, our friends from Review and Preview and the Girl Who Talks Sports, their GOAT, Eli Manning, for number 10 when he went to the Giants, an all expenses paid trip to Florida for the Jeff Fiegels and his family. Donovan McNabb, when he went to Minnesota, $5,000 to Chris Clue's charity, Mission Clue's amateur band in a press conference and an ice cream cone. That's probably the funniest one. That
ice cream cone?
$5,000 to Chris Clue, who I think was either the kicker or the punter, gave him $5,000 to his charity. He had to mention Chris Clue's amateur band in a press conference and buy him an ice cream cone.
Okay. All right.
This getting to it. Darrelle Revis paid Mark Barron $50,000 for number 24 when he went to the Buccaneers. Clinton Portis paid $40,000 to Ifeane Olete for number 26 when he went to the football team. Eric Decker paid $25,000 for a steak dinner to Jeff Cumberland. Shout out to former Illini Jeff Cumberland for number 87 when he's at the Jets. So that's quickly what I'll highlight there. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see if we get an update on social media in a few weeks before he gets started, or how he gets the number 11. To close this out, what are your thoughts on the Eagles' hire of Sirianni? Do you think he's going to bring a winning culture? I mean, we talked about the Adam Gase press conference a little earlier. Sirianni didn't have a great one either. Give me your thoughts on the hire. I mean, I would say how it's going so far. There's not a huge sample size, but I mean, the press conference wasn't great.
No, yeah. The moment I found out about the hire, it's not who I wanted. I really wanted Deuce. I would have been fine with Eric Bieniemy. Like, those are guys that I genuinely was waiting, wanting to see named our head coach. I'm not even lying. When I got the notification that we hired him, my first reaction was, who?
Me too. That's exactly what I thought. I said, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I was like, where is this coming from? And then I did research, and I was like, all right, Frank Reich. And we already kind of had this conversation. I was fine with it because Frank Reich recommended him. And at the time, I thought it was going to be, let's rebuild this team around Carson. Now that we've traded Carson, I don't really get it at all. I'm very nervous. I want to kind of say I'm gonna look at the bright sides and hope for the best kind of thing, but the Eagles just kind of keep letting me down, and I don't really want to look at bright sides anymore because I keep getting hurt. I'm in pain. Yeah. Help. So I really don't know what to expect. Like you said, he wasn't even calling plays, and play calling was one of our biggest weaknesses last season. So I'm hoping maybe that, I don't know, Jalen Hurts is new on the team. He's new on the team. Maybe they can just kind of create something together and build anything for our team. But I really don't know what to expect. I don't see him fitting the culture, honestly. I don't know. I'm at a crossroad. I mean,
how much does Howie Roseman being there hurt him, his development as a head coach? Do you think there's even a chance, with the track record that Howie really has? It doesn't seem like he's even setting his team up or his coaching staff up for success.
No, he's really not at all. It's really because Howie makes decisions that only he doesn't look at the bigger picture. He looks at in that moment right now for very small problems, but he doesn't realize that the decision he makes for problems that aren't even really problems, they just create bigger issues that are now becoming more and more impossible to fix. So I think at this point he needs to give Sirianni a say. And I think kind of like what I said about Jeff Lurie never wanting to fire Howie, because Jeff just wants someone that he can kind of say, do this, and he knows they'll do it. It kind of seems like they just hired a yes man who's just gonna he doesn't seem like the kind, like we saw in his press conference. He doesn't even really know how to it doesn't seem like he really even know what he was thinking.
There'll be a system in place or whatever the fuck he was saying. It was just a bunch of regurgitated bullshit.
Yeah, no, and that's what made me it was that moment where I was like, fuck, because now it's just we probably have a mini Howie, and we know how I feel about that. So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I don't think he lasts long in Philadelphia. I really don't. I think we get 1 or 2 seasons, maybe.
I won't be surprised, especially if the way the NFL is trending. We've talked about it. So let's talk a little bit about the 2016 draft when Carson got drafted. I want to compare him to the other 2 quarterbacks that are most prominent from that draft that are still playing, Jared Goff and Dak Prescott. I'm going to read off the stats for all 3 of these players, and I'm going to see if you can guess to see which one is which, see if you can get it correct.
Okay.
Just quickly to review what the Eagles did to acquire Carson in 2016. They traded up twice in the draft. They spent 5 draft picks to be able to take Wentz in 2016 with the number 2 overall pick out of North Dakota State, FCS program, obviously the best FCS program there is, most dominant college football program on that side, or in that division, I should say. And it was criticized. Anytime you take a player not out of the highest division or not out of the BCS, that you're going to get criticized, especially at the quarterback. He did validate the decision early on. We said, obviously, the Super Bowl in 2017, his second year, he wasn't healthy, but I mean, he has
he got us there.
Exactly.
Without him, we wouldn't have been able to make it.
Mm-hmm. He owns the franchise single season record for completions with 388, completion percentage for 69.6, passing yards with 4,039, and passing touchdowns with 33. So either way, he will go down in Eagles history. He brought them their first Super Bowl, although he wasn't the starter. He did win them 11 of those games in that year. So he will forever be linked with Jared Goff and Dak Prescott just because they were drafted at the same time. Obviously, especially him and Prescott because they played against division rivals. So I'll start with the stats now, see if you can guess which one. So number 1 has played 69 games, all starts. They're 42-27-0. They have thrown for 17,634 yards with a completion percentage of 66%. 106 total touchdowns, 40 interceptions, 146 sacks, and have a career quarterback rating of 97.3. Quarterback number 2.
Okay.
Has played 68 games, has a record of 35-32 and 1 tie. They have 16,811 yards, completed 62.7% of their passes for 113 touchdowns, 50 interceptions, 179 sacks, career quarterback rating of 89.2. And then finally, number 3 has played also 69 games, has a record of 42-27-0, has completed 63.4% of their passes for 18,171 yards, 107 touchdowns, 55 interceptions, 129 sacks, and a career quarterback rating of 91.5.
I'm going to go. Is number 1 Dak?
No.
Goff?
No.
What?
Number 1 is Wentz.
I never would have put him, especially with his overall rating after the last season. I was like, there's no way he's this high.
Oh, wait, no. Okay, the first one I said was Dak. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I had them written down as Dak is my third one. So the first one was Dak. He's 42-27-0.
That makes sense.
115. Yes.
I know Goff also battled injuries. I know Dak is like the fantasy quarterback. So I was having Dak number 1, which is crazy to me too. I feel like we have to just talk about this for a hot sec. The fact that they still haven't made a decision on him. And apparently they're not even close. As an Eagles fan, best case scenario would be for Dak to leave the Cowboys. But I can't even deny how talented he is as a quarterback. And for them to be able to for him to be able to get 40 points on the board and for them to lose games, the only reason the Cowboys aren't stellar in Super Bowl conversation is because of their defense. That is literally the only thing holding them back.
Yep.
And for after Dak to get injured, for Jerry Jones to come out and say, like, we're going to take care of him. We respect him. We love him. And for him to not freaking pay him. If I have to hear one more fucking season of Dak Prescott with a franchise tag, I'm going to lose my shit. I don't want like just pay him or let him go. Because at this point, it's really not fair. And so I made the argument last season, like I couldn't understand why he was asking for so much because he hasn't really been able to show blah, blah, blah. I literally like take my own words back. He deserves all of this now just because for how many times they've shorted him, like make up for all that, give him the huge contract. Clearly your team can't function at all without him. Like, and his injury was brutal, but he will heal. Like I have no doubt in my mind that this injury is not going to like stop him at all. Like it's not going to be one of those injuries that changes his game. So as much as I hate to like hype up a Cowboy, Dak Prescott is so freaking talented and deserves to get paid. And if he gets another franchise tag, I quit.
And I mean, in my mind, he's the most talented out of the three I just named.
100%. 100%.
So do you have a guess for who's 2 and 3? I'm sorry I messed that up. Yeah, so I had it written down.
No, you're fine.
In a different order, so I tried to like switch it up. So I of course I confused myself. So Dak was number 1. So his stats was 69 games started. He's 42 and 27 as a starter. He's thrown for 17,634 yards, completed 66% of his passes for 106 total touchdowns and only 40 interceptions with a career quarterback rating of 97.3. So your other two options, number 2 was a quarterback that is 35, 32, and 1. Okay. 62.7% of his passes completed, 16,811 yards, 113 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 89.2. And then number 3 was another quarterback who's also played 69 games. He's 42 and 27 as well, just like Dak. 63.4% of his passes completed for 18,171 yards, 107 touchdowns, 55 interceptions. He's got a career quarterback rating of 91.5.
I think it goes in order: Dak, Wentz, and then Goff.
Yes, you're correct. You got it exactly right. You know your shit, Jordy. But yeah, I was actually shocked when I found out that Goff had the most yards out of the three of them. I would have bet Dak. Yeah. But then I remembered when the Rams went to the Super Bowl, like their offense was just incredible all year. And of course, until they went to the Super Bowl. I was a little surprised that Goff's rating is higher than Wentz. But I mean, when you look at what happened this last year,
I think that's what kind of did it.
Absolutely. And I didn't think his record was that bad either. 35, 32, and 1. Yeah. I thought he had won a lot more games, but I'm not going to rub this in your face. We don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about that. Jordyn,
because like even I feel like the only season where we were like stellar, like on fire, was our Super Bowl season. I believe we were 13 and 3. What we finished off the season as. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yes. And then then we were 9 and 7, and this year we don't even discuss this year. So yeah,
doesn't count. We were in a pandemic, Jordyn.
Yeah, 2020 doesn't count. We just wiped out.
Doesn't count at all, except for Mitchell Trubisky's MVP, the Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player. So this has been absolutely incredible. Let's wrap this up. I will ask you one thing. If you could go back to 2016, would you take Dak Prescott instead of Carson Wentz?
Wow, you really just hit. You were like, let's wrap it up, and then you hit me with that. Honestly, now I feel like I can't answer this like unbiasedly. I think if you're looking at stats, yeah, like you want Dak, but I really like Carson Wentz. I think fit with until the Eagles crumbled. He fit the Eagles perfectly. He fit exactly what we were doing. I think he fit our whole scheme, and like for the Eagles with the team that like struggles with injuries all the time, Dak is surrounded by weapons. And I don't know if he would have been able to do what he does on a team of practice squad guys. And like Carson Wentz kind of made the impossible possible for us. So I do think like while Dak has put up better numbers, Carson Wentz belonged on the Eagles. He's what we needed. And I feel terrible that we fucked him over as bad as we have, because he did not deserve it.
Yeah. Take some solace in the fact that you guys put him in a better situation.
We did, yeah.
In Indianapolis. All right, Jordyn.
We have set him up beautifully.
Sorry to spring that last question on there. You just kind of hit me.
No, that's a great question. Great question.
Makes you think about it. I mean, the dude goes in the 4th round, and he has arguably had a better career than the other 2 guys. I mean, okay, Wentz does have a Super Bowl ring. Goff has made it to a Super Bowl, but there have been questions about Goff his entire career. We don't need to get into that. We've already gone for an hour and 15 minutes. So let me let you get out of here. I know you probably got shit to do. So let's plug your YouTube channel, whatever you want to plug, anything. You have the floor right now.
Yep. So as we said earlier, my YouTube, I post every single week. I'm going to be continuing to post even in the off season. And you can find me. I'm SportyJordy, all one word. My Instagram, I post daily on my Instagram. I'm at @the_SportyJordy. And Twitter, I'm just getting on the Twitter train. I want to be good on Twitter. I'm trying to be good on Twitter. Please follow me at @the_SportyJordy, all one word.
Absolutely. Follow Jordyn on all of those places she just said. She has great content on YouTube and Instagram too. Posts a lot of great clips there. Her stories are always much watched. Like I said, the Eagles reactions are just incredible. The block has made it back up onto her shelf.
It's on the shelf. I gotta love them through the good and the bad. We'll figure it out, hopefully soon.
Hopefully figure it out. I hope the Eagles figure it out. I hope the Bears figure it out as well. Jordyn, here's to more collaborations in the future. Yes. I love having you on the podcast. The return
here.
Yes, this was awesome. I had such a great time just shooting the shit, talking about Carson Wentz, talking about football and all of that stuff with you. I always love having different people on to talk about sports, especially girls. You know, I need to highlight the women in sports. I feel like that's really important. Giving you guys a voice. And I mean, if somebody like me, like an asshole like me, can talk and have a podcast, I can at least highlight somebody that knows what the fuck they're talking about. So
all the statistics you pull out,
I try. I pull a lot of shit out of my ass. All right. So go Bears, bang, bang, bird gang. Follow Jordy on Twitter. Help her get her Twitter game up. Subscribe to her YouTube. Smash that notifications button so you know whenever new videos come up. Subscribe to the Brew Party on YouTube as well. We are trying to build that up. We're good. Well, not good on Twitter. Obviously, we want to keep it going, but we're a little better on Twitter than we are on YouTube. So help us on YouTube. Help Jordy on Twitter. Do the same. Support the Brew Party. Support SportyJordy. Follow us on Twitter at the Brew Party. We're also on Instagram at the Brew Party. We're on Facebook at the Brew Party Podcast. So the video for this is available now on all of our social media, pretty much YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Facebook at the Brew Party Podcast, and then on YouTube and Twitter at the Brew Party. The audio will be out. Today is Monday, so we'll be out by Tuesday, the 23rd, in the morning at some point. You know how much I love my editing. But thank you so much, Jordyn, for being here. I want to dedicate this episode to my grandpa, who's currently in the hospital right now. Took a little bit of a spill a little bit today. So that's not great. Grandpa, feel better. Love you, man. Love you, big guy. Get better. Thank you all so much for joining in. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Brew Party, Podcast. Big things coming in 2021. More collaborations with SportyJordy, hopefully around draft time. We should probably do some draft stuff. Ooh, yes, figure out what the fuck the Eagles are going to do. Figure out what the Bears are going to do. Hopefully not fuck it up. All right, we're out of here. I'm done rambling. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in.